My name is Ty Larson. You might know me as Stupid Flipper. I am 15 years old, and I was just barely barricaded in my room for 2 months straight, afraid for my life because the court was trying to force me with my abuser. My timeline is I was abused from the ages 3 to 10. Before, when I was about 3, my mom and my biological father were together. They divorced when I was about 3.5, and then abuse started happening. Abuse happened from 3 all the way to 10. Many nights during that time, I would pray to God that He would take me out and He would help comfort me through those situations, yet it never happened. I was in fear for my life. He threatened many things, including hurting my mom or my sister. If I told anybody that he abused me, he would hurt me, my mom, or my sister. During the time living with him, he got a step wife, or my step mom. They were married. They were together for a couple years. I've witnessed all 3 of my sisters abused by this man. I was abused in a different way, I would say. Physically, sexually, and emotionally by my father, Brent Joel Larson. This also includes my grandmother also abused me physically, sexually, and emotionally too. We have supported DCFS findings on our case. My sister disclosed first. She disclosed first. I kept trying to say it was false, and it wasn't true because I was scared my father would hurt her or my mother. Then I got the courage up and I finally spoke out. I was taken out of his household and lived completely with my mother. At the very beginning, they were trying to press charges. I was interviewed by Child Protective Services, police officers, so many things I couldn't even name them all. We've been going through this fight for about 5 years. At the very beginning, it was going good. We were following what the attorneys were saying and everything was looking good. Then it just started to decay. It was heartbreaking / melting thing because I was scared. I did not know what was going to happen. Reunification started a long time ago. It was terrible, ran by a weird company, but one day I got the courage to stand up to my father during reunification. Before this, I had a therapist. He was the founder of Bikers Against Child Abuse, or BACA. His name is JP Lilly. He was my therapist. I love him with all my heart, and he is the greatest man I know. He helped me gain my courage back and get my voice back. He made me feel like I had power. I had a voice. Then one day, I was done with it. I was done. I was like, I am done with this crap. I went into the reunification place and I blew up at my dad. The person that was supposed to be supervising let it happen. That's not what they're supposed to do. I went on and I didn't have to go to them anymore. My sister did, but I didn't, which was kind of crazy. Then 2021 started and reunification wanted to get back up. Because of COVID, they had nothing. 2021, they wanted to start things back up again. We started seeing our guardian ad litem, Daniel Iyer, and then my reunification therapist, Michelle Jones. We started seeing them. They tried to make us like them. I never liked them. I even told my mother a couple times I don't trust them. She would always say, no, trust them. They're doing what's best for you. And I thought that was true, but I still didn't like them. They still seemed fishy and I had no idea. We then started to be sent to like Zoom calls. In that Zoom call, I didn't really say anything. I think I said in total of 5 words. We then, the next week, he saw us in person and I told Michelle Jones, my reunification therapist, I feel super uncomfortable and I don't want to see him. My reunification therapist would refuse to let me talk about the past. She would refuse for us to bring up any of the abuse that happened or any past events, which I think that that's not right and I should be able to bring those up and get that off my shoulders if we want reunification to even happen. My guardian ad litem told me I wasn't able to get emancipated because the chances are 0.001%. So that was almost out of the equation. On Easter, we started going to in-person visits at their house. We had a supervisor there for the first one. Michelle Jones was our supervisor. And then the ones after that, no supervisor. It was our uncles on that side of the family that were the supervisor. We first started off with 2 6-hour visits each week. Then we went to 2 8-hour visits each week. Then on Father's Day weekend, we were sent to our first overnight in a cabin in the middle of nowhere with no cell service for the first time in 5 years. It was the worst. So many things happened up there, and I got most of them on recording. They supposedly put a lock on our door. It was one of the sliding locks. We requested they put a lock on our door because we were scared that they would come in the middle of the night and hurt us or abuse us again. I have pictures of it. The lock was so far separated that you could open the door and unlock the door from how far it let it open. It was one of the chain locks that you see. Keep in mind that the cabin was about 3 hours away. We came home. I told Michelle Jones I hated it up there. I told her the things that happened wrong and all the bad things that happened. She didn't do anything with them. I talked to my guardian ad litem. He did nothing with that information. Continued on this huge thing, and then there was another visit. They said I was only gonna have a visit. They were trying to sneak us, but I was able to figure out just from body language and all that crap, because we had to pack bags and it looked like for multiple days that it was probably going to be a month-long visit. We got to the Provo police station and I refused. And they were there, but the Provo police didn't do anything because they said it was a civil matter. And because of that, I was kind of like, what? I was interested in when the police said that that was not allowed for them to force us in their car because it's a civil matter. We refused. It was a whole 8 hours. It was meant to be just to drop off and pick up. It was 8 hours of us from when we got there to when we were able to leave. After that, we got a break. Court wasn't meant to go in session for until November, and this is June, July-ish. And then I started going to in-person school for the first time in 3 years because of COVID and us moving. I was first time to go to in-person school. I signed up to take debate, the top level math class that I can physically take, and criminal justice at a college level. I was going to criminal justice and we had a unit on policing and what police can do and what the court can do. Like what's in their power and what can they do. After class, I would stay back and talk to my criminal justice teacher and ask them like can the police do this if they were called to take us? Can the police do this? Can the police do this? I was able to get enough information to know that if you barricade, they cannot take you out if it's a court battle, especially among a 16-year-old and a 12-year-old. It never happened before, says my criminal justice teacher. So I was like, okay, I will not be taken if I do that. I had that in my brain for months. November comes around and we have a Thanksgiving visit sprung up on us from the middle of nowhere and we had no idea. We went, it wasn't an overnight, but me and my sister felt like we should pack things. Without our mom knowing, we grabbed food, we grabbed like board games, blankets and stuff like that, and drinks. They picked us up, we went to their house and they took us and we were in their house, and the second I opened the door, they started screaming at me, scanning me with RF readers. If you don't know what that is, that's a recording device finder. Almost hit me, and then it was finally able to be diffused by one of my uncles. I have all of that on recording, and we went into their side room. Brindley was crying. I was almost having a panic attack. I told them we needed space. I heard one of them say that they didn't even want us here, and they said that right to my face. They didn't want us there, and they got all of these turkeys because they were gonna be down south for Thanksgiving. And I was like, okay, if you didn't want us here, why didn't you say we could be with our mother? And they're like, the court just put that on us. I asked them to give us space, and me and my sister looked at each other, and I'm like, what if we go lock ourselves in their bathroom? This was a 12-hour visit, and this all happened within 10 minutes. It's a separate bathroom. There's the hand washing area, then the toilet. So that's the reason why I chose that and thought about that, is because if we did that, we wouldn't have to worry about going to the bathroom. I even have pictures of that bathroom, but then we were in there for 12 hours. I heard them plenty of times try to bribe us out with cinnamon rolls, pizza, countless things, and they kept trying to guilt us, like emotionally guilt us into coming out because our cousins were there. We did not. We stayed there till 8 o'clock. It was from 8 in the morning to 8 p.m. We left when my mom was there. My mom had to text me that she was there, and then I left. Then after that, I thought that then I told my guardian ad litem everything that happened, and I told him, I'm not okay with these visits. They're going too crazy. I don't want this. Slow it down. Let me have 1 hour long visits each week. I'll do that. Just don't send me for like months. But then I got from my I kind of got from my guardian ad litem that the next visit was going to be an overnight. He wouldn't say how long, but I could tell it was for a long time. I have all of this on recording too. He told me that the next thing was to have an overnight, and he couldn't do anything about it. I exploded at him. I told him, no, I am not going. I do not care. And that made me furious that they were just choosing not to believe me. And I could kind of tell that they were being really fishy about it. They were trying to say, oh, the judge ordered this. I can't control the judge. My guardian ad litem actually recommended for me to be sent. He's meant to be my attorney. He recommended I was sent. And they recommended I would be sent to this reunification camp. During meeting with Daniel Iyer, my guardian ad litem, he told me if I did not cooperate, he would send me to a reunification camp in an undisclosed location in the middle of nowhere, somewhere in Texas, for a week. This place is called Turning Points. And if I was going to be sent to this camp, my mom would be made to write a letter to us saying that she told us what to say. That would instantly put her in contempt, which she hasn't. We're the ones that told our stories, not her. She can't even come up with this stuff. They're trying to blame it on her, that she coached us. My mom did not coach me, and that is a promise. I can promise you guys with all my heart. She couldn't. She can't control what I believe, that's for certain. It's been so crazy that I've even got mad at my mom that she would never talk bad about my dad. I just wanted some days for her to get empathy of somebody and just kind of just have a day to just let everything out and just yell and scream at the world. She wasn't that way. She wasn't. She would refuse to talk bad about my father. And I've actually gotten mad at my mom about that. My mom made a scrapbook for me and my dad full of pictures from when I was young. What type of alienating mother has that? Or coaching mother has that? My mom saved all of my CDs that I gave to my dad because she has a copy. One of them is directly about him. Me and my uncle recorded those when I was like 4. She still has those. I don't understand how they're accusing her of unintentional parental alienation. Unintentional means she's not even meaning to do it. That doesn't work. Unintentional parental alienation doesn't even exist. That's not even a thing. The reason why they're saying unintentional is because they don't have evidence. But continuing on. After that visit, one day I was just picked up randomly from school, and we got Brindley too. We started heading down towards Provo, closer to my guardian ad litem and reunification therapist's office. We arrived at my guardian ad litem's office, and I saw my biological father's car there, and I refused to get out of the car. I actually switched to the backseat of our car and buckled in so they would not rip us out. They would have to rip us out if they wanted to take us. We were sitting there for 4 hours, and then the building shut down, and then we left. I was scared for my life. Me and my sister were crying in the backseat, hoping that they would not take us. A few weeks later, they say that they're gonna take us. My parents have to drop us off at the police station for them to take us. I refused, and I barricaded myself in my room, refusing to go. They didn't. My parents couldn't force us out, so they didn't take us. Then a writ of assistance was signed by the judge, saying that the police can use reasonable force to force us with our biological father. This directly correlates with my school. I remembered they cannot. They signed a writ saying that the police could force us with our abusive father. The court could get in big trouble for that if people actually came down and started investigating the court. After the writ of assistance, the police actually showed up at our house and tried to take us. We were barricaded. I was live streaming on Twitch at the time. I'm pretty sure I only had like 1 follower, and I got it that day. I was crying. I had a panic attack, pleading the police to not take me and my sister. And I told them, if you took me, you'd be taking me to a rapist's house. They finally backed down and said, nope, they're not gonna do anything. Our city's police is not gonna do anything. They said that they weren't gonna come for Christmas break. We had a break from being scared for Christmas break. Then after that, I barricaded myself back up in my room. I was trying to think of a way that I could stay safe, but then I remembered in criminal justice, they said, if you barricade, they cannot take you. So after my criminal justice teacher told me that a while ago, I went in our basement and I searched for if we have anything to do that with. I found like a big piece of plywood, some 2x4 screws, nails, a drill bits, and all that other stuff in our basement because we were trying to finish the basement. And then I told my sister, what if we do this? My sister agreed that we should do this. Me and my sister cleaned out my little brother's room because his closet was connected. If I cut a hole through that closet, it will get to the bathroom. so I wouldn't have to leave my room at all. I went in there, I got the 2x4s up, I got the drill, I drilled it up, and I took my hatchet. I found where the studs were by knocking. I took my hatchet, put it on the edge of the stud, and I remember pounding in, bam. I chopped through the closet to be able to get to access the bathroom so I could stay in there long term. My mom figured out that we were barricaded up there when she came to bring us up dinner. She stayed up there for a couple hours trying to get us out, trying to check up on us mentally and see if like we're okay, because we just barely barricaded ourselves in there. That's when I started live streaming on TikTok and Twitch. That's probably where you learned about the kid that barricaded himself in his room, scared for his life. That whole journey started then. That's the day that it started. It was a crazy journey. The very beginning, it was kind of just like just trying to mentally be okay. I was live streaming on TikTok, and then during that time, there was a court hearing where they flipped custody completely to my abusive father. 100% custody to my abusive father. But he's not able to have overnights with us, which is like, they know that abuse happened. They're just trying to protect their butts right now. Me and my sister aren't allowed to stay in the same house at nighttime, which is effed up in my opinion. We were in the room. I started screaming out to TikTok, trying to get help. I needed help, screamed out to the world nonstop. Help started coming. Newspapers came out about me, a ProPublica article about me, a video from Philip DeFranco, and that's surreal to me. That was the help I wanted. I needed this help. That's what protected me. If no one would have seen or if no one would have helped, I would not be here right now. That's for sure. My father would have full custody. But 2 months went by. We got info that the judge put like a stop to that order. There's no writ anymore. So I'm free right now. This is only temporary. And this is why I need your guys' help still. I need you guys to call Utah District Attorney. Tell them to prosecute my father, because there's an open investigation right now on my father. Call anybody that you guys can think that can actually investigate the court down here in Utah. Call the court and tell them to give my mom back full custody. And we're not the only people and that's the crazy thing. There's hundreds of cases in our county alone. I happen to be the one to talk out about it. So I need your guys' help. I need your guys' help to share this around, share this message, and help me expose the world of what evil we have here so we can try to fix it. And please, the one thing I want is protect me from going back to my abusive father, Brent Joel Larson. My name is Ty Larson, and that's my story.